Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sean, one of the co-hosts here at Electric Lawn Talk. I just want to jump in real quick before today's episode, give you a little background. We are starting a brand new series called From the Field, where we want to hear from all of you. We want to find out what's working, what's not, and get a little bit of insight into your businesses and hope we can all learn from it. Our guest this week was really early on in their business, and one of the key takeaways, at least for me, was that sometimes you just got to jump, right? You just got to go for it. You're not going to be 100% efficient right out of the gate. Not everything's going to be perfect. You just got to play around with it, test some things, see what works, see what doesn't, learn from it, and keep on moving. William and I had a great time talking to Kevin this week, and I really hope you enjoy this new format. If you'd love to be on the show, hit us up. Shoot us a message on Facebook, Instagram, email, however. We'd love to hear from you. We'll probably be doing one of these series about once a month, maybe the first week of each month, and we'll see where it goes from there. Cheers.
Welcome to Electric Lawn Talk. Each week, the electric lawn care professionals get together to talk about the electric lawn and landscape business and have some fun along the way. Whether you are in the business, thinking of getting started, or just want to hear the tips, tricks, struggles, and victories of the move to electric, you are in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello. It's William with Sust. Good to be with everyone. I got Sean with Luminary Lawns co-hosting with me today. We're trying something new. We're doing a From the Field series. Some of you guys might have seen the post online. Definitely would love to hear from more of you to sign up. We've got Kevin Poulin on. I'll let Kevin introduce himself in a second, kind of give his background and kind of a list of topics we want to go through with folks, the things that I would want to learn when I meet folks, when we met some folks at Equip or at Elevate, what they do, what they've learned. And my beauty and love of this industry is really the positive sum game. That's everyone's willing to share what they know and share what they have and be able to do it for the betterment of everyone else getting better. So with that, Sean, say hey, and then we'll have Kevin introduce himself.
Hey, yeah, I'm really excited about this series. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast each week is just being able to learn from other people who have been in the industry, been ahead of me, run into roadblocks that I may be dealing with now or might come across in the future, and kind of getting to work out problems with people live on air. And so, I think it'll be a lot of fun to start introducing some new people, some new voices, and new experiences. So excited to have Kevin on here tonight to get this started.
Awesome. Kevin, the man of the evening, we'll come to you. Maybe just start. Hey, introduce yourself, name of the business, a bit about it, how long you've been around, the high level 20,000 foot view, and then we'll kind of dive in from there.
Yeah, my name is Kevin Poulin. I operate Electric Cut Lawn Care in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I started my business in March of this past year, basically just starting the season out with all brand new equipment. And I'm just getting my feet wet, slow, but, as I can at the same time. Still a lot of learning to do. Obviously, I'm obviously here excited to learn and, try to share little knowledge I have already. But
No,
that's pretty much
appreciate it, especially just jumping into it.
Yeah.
That's helpful. So tell me again. You said you just started this year. Had you had a gas lawn mowing business before and transitioned over in a different industry? What were you doing before?
No, I had not done any gas lawn care before. I did have my own personal gas zero turn and gas, just weed eater and blower, but sold all that, didn't need it anymore. But went straight all electric because I thought, it was a kind of a gap in the market that we have. No one here is doing all electric equipment. So I figured, it's a great time to jump in since that's where the industry is going anyway. Why not go ahead and, get a foothold? That way I could make a better future.
Getting in front of the curve.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'd say kind of first topic we have on that transition. Some folks we have that have come from that, but you obviously starting fresh. Maybe walk through your evaluation process. What equipment you're running, how you decided from kind of not doing this before to, hey, I'm going to get a fleet of tools and a kit to be able to go in. We always love kind of geeking out over the tools. So maybe take us through that journey first of, hey, I'm going to do this. It's a gap in the market. What are you running? Why did you pick that? How's that been for you in the first year?
I looked into, all the different kinds of, commercial grade zero turns and stuff like the mean green and stuff. And just looking at the prices of those, I was just astonished. I called a couple of dealers and they were talking, $30,000 to $40,000 just for a lawnmower, and that was, out of the range for me. I started looking into more residential grade stuff, and I landed on the equipment that Lowe's. So that worked out for me. Credit card that you could finance for 6 months with 0% interest. So I loaded all that up on the credit card, and then I was able to pay that off in 6 months. So I didn't have to shell out all that money at the very start of the season. So I was able to kind of pay it off as I go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got started pretty similar way. I put in savings and everything as well, but the zero interest credit cards is there. It's a tricky game, but as long as you manage it properly, it's definitely a great tool, a great resource to tap into. What's been your most surprising moment, right? Like, do you have any aha moments, both on maybe one on the good side and one on the bad side?
I guess one on the bad side is obviously you guys probably run into it too, but with people that want a biweekly lawn service, obviously their grass is a lot thicker, harder to mow. So with electric equipment, if you have to run your blades at a higher rate of speed, it does take more battery. So with one of the properties that I mow, I want to say it's 2.5 acres of grass to cut. So that takes 100% of my batteries in the middle of summer. So that was a big learning experience, a struggle, something I had to learn how to deal with. I guess a good part would be just kind of how nice the equipment operates. You pull the trigger and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about any equipment failures, pulling the string and it just flies right out. Stuff like that. Gas people have to deal with that. We just don't.
You mentioned biweekly mowing. How is the business structured today? Is it predominantly maintenance? Are you doing kind of other work as well? I know you kind of said you just got your start, and then how are you packaging that to your customers? We've got some folks that are firm believers in subscription only. We've got some others that kind of do as whatever the customer's looking for and pay as you go and or pay for the season. Maybe take a step back to the business side of how have you gone about structuring that and maybe dovetail that into even if you started one way and changed it to another, and you have a story about that. I'd love to hear kind of your pricing and packaging to to the customer.
Most of my customers are biweekly customers. A lot of people around here, they don't like to pay for someone to mow their grass every week because everybody's stingy with money nowadays. But I've got only one client that actually lets me mow their grass, once a week.
And then just pay. They kind of pay every time. Kind of. Did you guys cut
Y-
year round in North Carolina? I don't even know.
No, it kind of died down at the end of November. Yeah, it's basically pay per service
Okay.
right now.
Have you figured out, and maybe not until you branch out beyond the maintenance side? I'll kind of give an example. For us, it was aerators and electric aerators, and their Bluebird makes one, or you can tow it behind a Z6 and stuff like that. But from your perspective, or as you've researched it, have you found anything kind of missing or tools that if you're doing this electric thing and you want to go deliver fully electric and sustainable to a customer, you're not going to bring a gas tool in or you have to do it manually like Sean and go dig out a stump. Have you started to run into that or see any kind of opportunities or hey man, I wish the industry made XYZ?
Yeah, well, obviously there's big landscaping equipment that's just not electric yet, and there's nothing you can about that. As far as like hand tools, I know like Ryobi makes like an auger, but you have to buy their tool and their batteries. But that's one piece of equipment I'd like to get. Hopefully, Ego would make one, but if I have to buy Ryobi, I guess I will. That'd be
If
that'd
you're
be a piece of equipment that'd be useful in the future with doing installs. Even planting like bigger trees or maybe doing fence installs in the future.
if
But
you're looking to get into more
that's kind of
installs, I would highly recommend
yeah.
an auger. It's a game changer.
Well, I do have a gas one, but
Gotcha.
don't tell anyone.
No, no, it's
Nobody's listening. It's all right. Secret safe.
it's low impact. You have to do what you have to do there, and I think that's the beauty of what I love about all the guys. I know it's just Sean and I today, but we're kind of on the bleeding edge of figuring some of this out, right? We have part of our
Yeah.
business, one of the groups that we actually acquired to grow what we were doing in Montgomery County. was a team that had been using electric equipment since 2009. So the evolution and the change is been wild to see even since then. And then you look at the last couple of years, is the industry as a whole going to do this? Are there going to be kind of mandates that push us that way? And then it kind of became about infrastructure and all that. Talk to us. I know you said you maxed out there. Are you doing anything? Have you looked into like onboard charging or just buy enough batteries to keep you through the day? What's been your experience on that?
Yeah, I mean, crap ton of batteries is a crap ton expensive, but so also is solar panels. So obviously, I have a flatbed trailer right now, so you would need some type of surface to put solar panels on. So an enclosed trailer would be ideal for that. And then I haven't really looked into the pricing of solar panels or what an inverter and battery storage would cost to have on board. But that would be what I would like to look into as opposed to having more batteries is to be able to charge while I'm on the road.
So just curious, how many properties are you doing right now?
I have a total of 9 right now.
Okay. So how many days? So I know you're doing this part time. Like, what's your breakdown down right? Because you've got an existing career and you're kind of doing this on the side, right?
Mm.
So how many days are you going
Yeah.
out, or how are you breaking out the timing for servicing the properties?
Well, I've my area really small and condensed. That way, I don't have so much travel time. So, about 3 of my properties are less than 5 minutes from my house. So I'm able to come home from work, jump in the truck, and pull the trailer out there, knock out 1 or 2 yards, and I'm back home within an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I knock out most of my yards Monday through Wednesday, and then if I have to do one on Friday or even Saturday if it's raining, then I'm able to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I would say, the size you are currently, obviously, the running with batteries on hand is doable. But definitely as you start growing out, being able to have that onboard charging setup is going to be a game changer for you. Whether it's an enclosed trailer that you get to replace what you've got, or you're just kind of getting crafty with it and building a frame around your open flatbed trailer to have somewhere to put those
Hmm.
panels. That's going to make a big difference for you.
Yeah.
From a customer perspective, I know you said kind of having 9 and looking to grow and transition kind of into this being the full-time thing in the future. What's been that reaction, right? I imagine being local, maybe it starts friends and family. I think that's how all of us got our start. That's certainly how I got mine in terms of getting the first customers. But beyond that, whether it's like, hey, they see you doing the neighbors and that's super quiet. Hey, someone's finally offering that service locally and you're the only one and able to kind of capture that. Maybe talk to us about kind of beyond that first step of friends and family, what else you've been doing or the customer reaction to kind of delivering the electric lawn service? Maybe some things you've learned there or how that maybe help you in terms of growing in the future.
So one of the first things I did was buy a bunch of yard signs. So that gave me a couple customers, not nearly as many as I thought that would give me. But obviously, unless you're talking to people face to face, if they see, just electric lawn care, maybe they're not getting the full picture of what you offer in a yard sign. But I'm looking into doing a whole lot more door knocking and in person stuff this next coming well, end of winter, beginning of spring. Another thing I've been doing is using the app next door and going on there and just looking for people that are looking for lawn service or yard cleanups, whatever they be looking for, and I'll reply to them and go from there.
I know Steven's not on, and Sean, I'm sure you've got a thought too. But I know that's how Steven and Ecomo got started. And I'm pretty sure this is right on next door. If you are a part of the community and responding into it, to be able to become an expert, where you can't outright advertise every time you're doing it, or kind of post your own self promotion posts, but as a way, which really this industry as a whole, I think is helping folks achieve what they're trying to have done. That's definitely a hack I know I used at the beginning. Sean, what did you use to kind of get started? How else can we guide or help Kevin, or other thoughts that you think would be good?
Next door is great. We definitely use that a good amount getting started, but I think face-to-face conversations for those first customers are the best way to go. I think I got my first 25 customers in November in December of 2020, just going around knocking on doors, talking to neighbors in my community and the surrounding communities, and just kind of showing them the passion that you've got, why you got into this, what's different about your service. And you really lean into those initial customers, and they start to become a marketing arm for you if you provide them with the proper information out of the gate and match that up with the service to back it up.
Kevin, what else? What's kind of surprised you either from a business side? I mean, I think at that level, as you work to figure out administrative management and billing systems and kind of route planning and some of the other stuff we dive into. I know we've done that as a deep dive as a team, and I'm sure as we work and kind of talk to other guests, they'll have everyone's always got opinions, and I think you're able to take that a little bit and make it your own. But I'm sure, especially if this is now getting the slow season, looking to transition. What else are you looking at? What else are you looking to kind of transition, grow as you look to go in there? What haven't we asked about that you've kind of seen or been exposed to that you want to be able to share and maybe help someone else looking to jump into this as well?
I guess my biggest struggle was just trying to figure out pricing. He wants to name their own price for their lawns instead of letting you tell them what you're going to charge them. So that's been a hard one for me. And then something else would be just having the systems in place, like having once I get big enough to be able to use what's it called, like
Like a CRM, a
Jobber or
customer
something.
management
Yeah,
software.
yeah,
Yep.
CRM to kind of manage all the customers and stuff without having to keep track of all that on my phone. That'd be kind of a big weight, lifts it off me. It'd definitely be worth once I'm big enough to use that kind of software. It'll be worthwhile.
Yeah, I definitely agree from a software perspective that helps. I think getting started at Sean's point in terms of kind of getting the customers in, it's definitely a chicken and the egg of right having the demand to justify and kind of taking a bet on yourself and then ultimately your team to be able to do so. I will say from a pricing perspective, and I think it took a lot of confidence from at least from me and Sean. I'll be curious your experience as well, but definitely know your worth and know kind of the value of what you're delivering to those customers. Where it's not yes, you're making some tall grass short and you're taking care of it, but to be able to do much more than that. And if a customer's just viewing that and they're going to be the customer that switches if someone else is doing it for $2 cheaper, may not be the target customer, right? It's tough to walk away from revenue and you're like, well, if I just did it and I did a couple of these, it's that 80/20 rule, that customer ends up being, I think, a little bit more difficult or requires more of your time than some of the others.
I think it's really tricky when you're first getting started trying to figure out your price points, right? Because especially if you haven't done lawn care in professionally in any fashion before, whether it's gas or electric. My perspective when I started, like I knew the size of my lawn, I knew how long it took me to take care of my lawn, but going out to the first few accounts that were the same size property as me, it was wildly different. Some were faster, some were much longer, trying to figure out what other factors will play into to how long it actually takes you on those properties so that you can create a price based on your time. It certainly takes some time testing it out and playing around with it to kind of get it dialed in. So like when you only have a handful of accounts, if you get the pricing wrong on a couple of them, like it's not that big of a deal, right? You still have revenue coming in, and it might not be what you want it to be. It might not be profitable revenue, but as long as you're learning from it and you being able to take that knowledge to grow and build better from there. I know it doesn't feel like it when you first start, but you can change the price for your customers at any time. You just you send them an email, you give them a call, and say, I mean, I think it's a good rule of thumb to give them a heads up when you're doing it and give them a little bit of time, so it's not like a next cut we're jumping you up 20%. But
Yeah.
if you say, hey, look, we priced this out based on what we thought it was going to take, and after we've been out there, we've been doing this for a few weeks now, and it's taken us 20, 30, 40% longer to cut your property than we thought. Because of that, 2 weeks from now, we're going to increase your price. That way it gives, if you want to go out and look for somebody else, great. If you're happy with the work that we're doing and you feel like this is still good value for what you're getting, even better. And we'd love to continue servicing you, but this is what it's going to be. I think it's always about learning, trying to improve, taking the knowledge that you get along the way and applying that forward. If you could go back and start this all over from the beginning, what's the biggest thing you would do different?
Probably knocking on doors a whole lot more instead of buying yard signs, because I think I probably would have more of a return on investment on that.
I got great news for you. You get to start over every spring.
This is true.
And honestly, don't wait for spring. That's the other little secret to it is
Yeah.
get out early and just start knocking on doors. And
That's what I was going to say. You get to start now, November, December. That's what you said, Sean. I heard you. Next
that's
season,
right.
right now, plan it start right now, right?
That's a great point. Like you say that as a joke, but right now is when
Yeah.
it's still fresh in their mind how they want a new service. They still remember at this point that they had issues with it. If they wait around and they're too busy and they don't get to looking for somebody else, come next February or March when when their existing company sends out a renewal to them, they're gonna forget. They got the holidays, they got the new year, they're busy. Whatever. I'll deal with it later, and they'll just keep on rolling. You get with them now while it's still fresh in their mind. They can still see that their lawn looks like crap because the company was digging ruts all over their yard and stuff like that. That some pesticide company burned a patch out on it. Now's the time that's all fresh in their mind, and you can come in and tell them how you're different. What level of care and attention you're going to provide to their property, and it makes a big difference.
All right, Kevin, I'll give you the floor. Any final thoughts? We're gonna come to the end here. I definitely, from your side, I love this because it reminds me of going back to basics, especially this time of year. But let me give you the floor, and then I'll wrap it up. Anything else you want to kind of impart on the listeners here? Anything else you want to kind of get out and mention, or anything we haven't asked about you want to share?
Yeah. You or anybody else is starting out. Like, don't be afraid to hit the pavement. I had a very busy work life, so it was kind of hard for me to do that. But I could have spent more time myself doing that. But also, don't be afraid to pick up any extra jobs on the side, simple landscaping jobs that you can do, just anything to make ends meet. That's pretty much it.
No, that's great. I really appreciate you taking the time, Sean. Anything from you, and then I'll bring us home.
It's awesome, man. It's exciting to see new people getting into this industry. Like I said before we got started here, I mean, your entry into this industry is very similar to my own. It's just keep pushing away, keep knocking on those doors, keep talking to people, get the message out there any way you can. When you got a handful of properties, you've got more time than money. Go out, knock on the doors. That's the best way to grow your business. As you get more and more business and your time starts getting sucked away, then the opposite is the case. You start throwing money at some of the problems. But right now, just early on, get out, knock on doors, talk to people, tell people at community events, tell friends and family, send messages out on Facebook, ask if anybody knows anybody that might need lawn care. It's kind of like a little workaround. Like don't necessarily, hey, do you need lawn care? Hey, do you know anybody that needs lawn care? Because that way you're going to get not only, well, they might need it themselves, but also they're going to put you in touch with people that might be able to help you out and might be a good fit for you.
Sean, I think that's
Yep.
a beautiful nugget and a great place to end. Again, Kevin, thank you for the time. Sean, appreciate you co-hosting with me as we tried out this first one. Again, for listeners out there, right, we're going to try to do this the first week of every month. If we get more response, maybe we'll do it sooner. But this idea of the From the Field series, and whether it's Kevin just getting started out, whether it's us who's been in the game a little bit, whether it's some of the other folks that I know we've got very active Facebook groups and LinkedIn as well of folks kind of sharing their stories. We'd love to be able to have you on. Love to be able to learn more about gaps you see or challenges you face and how we've overcome them. And I think it's definitely selfish because it'll help me learn and help me continue to grow. I think it'll help anyone who listens to it. But we love to be able to use this platform to get that story out there, get more of these stories out there, and Kevin, appreciate you being the first one to try it with us, and look forward to many more.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you,
Appreciate it,
guys.
man. Thanks for coming on.
You kill it, or you just keep it going and you'll cut it after?
Thanks for listening to Electric Lawn Talk. Don't miss the next episode. Be sure to subscribe, and while you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review.